you really can't pretend to be a good person and achieve the same result as actually being a good person. And I've been thinking about how sometimes people act like they care and they try to do the right thing by others, but you can tell that they're really just going through the motions of making what they think is the right gesture. But it feels fake and disingenuous and patronizing, because some people are fundamentally respectful people, and some people have a sort of a toxic lens that they look at the world through. And maybe for some people, controlling others is their idea of what it means to love someone. They think if you love someone, you're going to protect them. You're going to essentially take ownership of them, and you're going to sort of treat them like property, kind of like a dog. If you have a dog, you might like the dog. You might even say that you love the dog, but at the end of the day, you don't really respect a dog because it's just a dog. You might go get it good food. You might take care of it. You might on some level care about it, but you don't view it as your equal. And in human relationships, we need to be treated as equals by the people who we value in our lives. And it's also important that we treat others who are our peers as equals. I think in marital situations and a lot of different situations in life, you can get to a point where you're trying to do the right thing. You're trying to be loving. You're trying to be invested, but you're not really treating other people in your life as true equals. Now, just to clarify, when I say as an equal, that doesn't necessarily mean that you put blinders on to the truth. It doesn't mean that, okay, for example, if I'm a guy who's 250 pounds and 6'2", and I'm with a woman who's 5'0" and 100 pounds, and I say that the two of us are exactly the same in terms of physical strength, that's a lie, right? So in some cases, maybe it's physical strength, maybe it's financial situations, I don't know, just different things put us in different circumstances to where you can't look at somebody and say, well, this person is the same as another person, because they're two different people. They aren't the same. And yet you can respect them as equally important, as having equally valid opinions, equally valuable interpretations on life. You can have a fundamental belief that other people who you have in your life, even if they look at the world through a different lens, they have something to offer which is equivalent to what you have to offer. And they have strengths which you don't, just as you may have strengths which they don't. And when you truly believe that a person has just as much value as you, then that creates a sense of harmony and peace and a productive relationship. But there's too many situations where people try to appear to treat others well, when true respect isn't just about treating others well. It's about treating them perhaps differently depending on who they are, but equally. Don't treat other people in your life like dogs. Don't go out there and say, I'm going to do what's right for you. I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to care about you. And I'm going to tell you what's best for you. The truth is, everyone has to follow their own path. And you've got to respect the fact that everyone's different. And that does not give you the right to presume that you have something to offer that's superior to others. I think there's a lot of family situations which struggle with this, where, you know, maybe a teenager, for example, feels like they are not heard or valued. Or maybe a spouse feels like they're not heard or valued because somebody's trying to be loving through ownership. I'm going to take ownership of the situation. And you don't need to take ownership of every situation. Sometimes the best, most loving thing you could do is to respect someone from a distance and let them rise and fall on the basis of their merit. Let them experiment and learn and grow in their own way. Don't always be there to swoop in, to hover, to be that helicopter that's always there to weigh in, to give your 2 cents, and to essentially be so invested in somebody's life that you don't actually give them the autonomy to be their own person. It's like I was at work and I tell my boss I'm going to do this conference call with the team and we're going to talk about a fundraiser we're doing. And he says, okay, sounds good. So time comes and we get on the call and we're having this call. Well, he gets on the call, he runs the call. He has different things to say. He says his his 2 cents, and you know, he kind of goes through the motions of the call. And once he does that, then at that point I kind of like, all right, well, you know, I don't need to say anything then. I'll just sit here because clearly everything that needs to be said is being said by somebody else. Right. And so then I kind of thought to myself, well, okay, well, you know what, if you want to have a call in the future, you're going to do it yourself. I'm not going to go say I'm going to organize something and then have somebody else run it for me. I'll just sit there and, you know, be kind of the lump on the wall. And it's easier for me, right, to just not even bother putting in the effort if somebody else is going to essentially do my job for me. And, you know, that's just a little thing, but it's the little things that make you feel kind of undermined. And sometimes people might do things that make your life easier, but it also still undermines your capacity to push yourself, your capacity to grow, your capacity to learn and develop yourself. And that's not really true respect, because true respect is, you know, it's like, you know, you teach a kid how to drive and then, you know, you give them the car and you say, okay, now you're gonna drive yourself and go do what you need to do. And you're not there for them. You're not there to make sure that they don't drive into a ditch or crash into somebody or whatever. You just trust that they are going to be okay. And you know that maybe they won't. Maybe something will happen, and that will be part of their learning experience too. And then they go out there and they experience all of the different things you experience when you're a new driver on the road. and then eventually they get the hang of it, but they don't get the hang of it because they had that you know, driving instructor there the entire time. You learn, you grow when you step out from underneath the umbrella of all of the people who are more interested in controlling you than they are in respecting you. And so I think there's two lessons to learn here. One lesson is to have boundaries and understand that sometimes an easy path that also prevents you from personal growth is not necessarily the right path to take. Sometimes it's good to walk away from things, whether it's a job or a relationship or something that's just comfortable but also feels like it holds you back. And the other thing is just learn to look at your personal relationships through the lens of respect instead of control. If you want to love somebody, respect who they are. Don't try to change them. Don't try to help make them grow faster. Don't try to always control every narrative. You know, it's so easy when you're listening to listen so that you can respond instead of listening so that you can understand. Have you ever noticed that somebody's saying something and before they even finish what they have to say, you're already kind of formulating what you're going to say in response? You just can't wait for them to shut up so that you can jump in and say what you have to say. And nobody wants to be in that kind of a conversation where they feel like there's not really any point in bringing anything to the table because the audience already has their mind made up. It's important to make people feel valued, and quite often the path to making people feel valued is to step back and not try to be the solution to every problem. Sometimes it's better to just be calm, be supportive, and take no action at all. Always, good luck on your adventure. Till next time, thanks for watching.